Hello, everyone. This is Kushanu Goswami, and welcome to Weekends with Amit. I hope you had a couple of good weeks before we met last. And this week, we are back with a subject which is not really a little bit funny sounding or something. This is very important, and we try to keep it as important or as grave as it should be taken into account. So, first and foremost, the subject for today is from Newtonian to quantum, changing the paradigm. Why are you going to talk about that? Why is there a need to change a paradigm? We all will hear about all this, but this subject is fundamental to what we are talking about. Newtonian physics, the way things work, they ran very successfully for a couple of hundred years, even more. But then quantum science came along, things changed. And more importantly, what is the importance of changing the paradigm? That is what we are going to learn, which is fundamental to whatever we stand for. To discuss all this, please help me welcome Professor Amit Goswami and Dr. Valentina Onisor. A very warm welcome to both of you. The subject for today is from Newtonian to quantum, changing the paradigm. And I was just explaining to our viewers that how fundamental it is to the whole movement that we have and the idea that you have. So maybe, Professor Goswami, if you can throw light on this particular subject and enlighten the viewers.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Krishna. I hope the word paradigm does not scare you. Paradigm basically is the overall umbrella within which uh, we develop concepts. We develop theory and experiment, all that constitutes science, for example. Paradigm is a word that we use for this overall umbrella. So it's really very equivalent to what we sometimes also call worldview, Newtonian worldview versus quantum worldview. Now, the Newtonian worldview is very straightforward. It says that the world is deterministic. What does that mean? It means everything is mechanical, machine-like, including living beings, including even human beings. Now, this is fundamentally a contradiction, of course. If we are machine-like, there is nothing that we can do or initiate, or whatever we do is the machine doing, it's the brain doing. Find the inconsistency, we'll find it very quickly. All of our problems are also coming from what the brain is doing. So everything should be always okay. We are mechanical creatures anyway. Our thoughts have no basis. It cannot change the world, obviously. All is part of that mechanical goings on, including the role of the brain, including the role of the human beings. But notice that this is just not the case, because if it were the case, then why do we jump around talking about, okay, let's do something about climate change, let's do something about this and that? Of course, we do nothing. So the results actually suggest that we are pretty much mechanical. But see, once in a while we do something which is not mechanical. Like we do have in a personal case. As a society, today we are totally failing under materialism. But in the personal side, people do still have the capacity to love. Some people do still write poetry, and they are still debating if the latest development of artificial intelligence program can write poetry. Why can't it write poetry as good as a poet? Those things are still unsolved. But assume that all that can be done by the chat GPT or whatever program that replaces that. What then? Are we then mechanical? Can ChatGPT improve our love life? They're already saying that yes, it can tell us finding dates. It can give us suggestions about whom we should marry. Maybe it can also tell us how to love, can it? The paradigm does not change if you don't ask this question. And the fact is that today 80%, 85% of the people, according to some calculations, just do not care about this question. Why don't they care? Because part of materialist dictum is also that all we can do is eat, drink, well, yeah, drugs. What else? For pleasure? Why not? And be merry. Most of the merriment, of course, you know, connected with sexuality. Good recipe. We can add a few things, entertain, watch Super Bowl, watch games, movies, videos, most of our social media. That's great, right? Keeps you busy, entertained. So who is complaining? So 85% are very happy with this life. No need for paradigm to shift. I don't have to do anything. All I have to do is to enhance more pleasure. Okay, that is already coming. Psychedelics are going to come back to us, and we'll have already marijuana is legalized in much of United States. I'm not criticizing it. It may have some bad aspects too, because if you make it illegal, people suffer too. They don't give up on their habits because that is part of being mechanical. If pleasure is one of the things that we can do to be happy, then why not enhance it? Why be limited to just eating and sex? Drugs are a fine way of enhancing pleasure. Pleasure circuits are immediately active. Okay, so are you concerned about all this? If you're concerned, then don't just stay with the materialist worldview. Materialism has no answer for that. Materialism produced these problems. Materialism is why this drug culture, because it says that nothing but drugs, that is our only source of pleasure, that is the only source of healing. We cannot do anything else. Are you concerned? If you're concerned, that I can tell you what quantum worldview promises. Look, it's already almost 100 years old, this quantum physics. You know, initially, all the founders, Max Planck, Niels Bohr, Albert Einstein, many others, lesser known names, they all anticipated that the worldview will change because quantum physics is antithetical to Newtonian physics. Quantum physics has specifically proven that the world cannot be determined, cannot be mechanical. There's no way out of it. So materialists have their answers. Well, it's probabilistic. Let's make some assumptions, and immediately you can resolve the fact that it's not strictly mechanical. On the average, it's mechanical. You have to really gauge the situation. What does it mean to be on the average mechanical? So, unless you take charge of yourself, that it is important to think like this, that ask these questions. What does it mean? Ask that meaning question repeatedly. What does it mean? Quantum physics says we can have communication without local signals. Materialists have a lot of way of rationalizing this. Well, that's only for the macro world. In the submicroscopic world, if you take quantum computers, then quantum information, by definition, can have non-locality. By definition. This is the trick that materialists often use. You cannot have something, just define it in such a way that that's the way it is in that world. Problem is that you are not a quantum computer. How are you to get the message of what quantum physics implies for you, for your experiences? This is where a proper analysis has shown for the last, I actually was instrumental in doing that, so I have the authority of talking about it. It is a legitimate, in my judgment, of course, only legitimate solution of the quantum measurement problem, but that's a personal judgment. But it certainly cannot be refuted that it takes consciousness to take care of the quantum uncertainty and choose the outcome of a quantum observation or experiment. See? So consciousness comes in. And that's the key. What is the nature of that consciousness? It cannot be personal. If it is personal, you get a paradox. Because two people simultaneously choosing the same event, who gets to choose? No answer for that unless you assume that, well, consciousness is not personal, it's cosmic. Same for everyone. Now you see why quantum worldview is dangerous. They're suggesting consciousness is the ground of being. Everything is not made of matter. It's consciousness. The world does not even manifest until somebody has looked at it. This is the one message of quantum physics that cannot be refuted. There is no manifest world without an observer looking at it. Even the journal Physics Today published an article, was compelled to publish an article. Namely, is the moon there when nobody is looking? And the author's conclusion was solid and not refutable. No, there was no manifest world without somebody looking. The world exists in possibility. However hard that is to accept and rationalize. And that means, that also suggests at the same time that we don't live in just space and time. There is a domain which is not space and time. And there are objects which are not material, consciousness included in that, non-material. These are the things that quantum physics brings. It gives a room for things that we covet, our feelings, positive feelings, love, all that. Quantum physics has answer for those questions. Quantum physics helps us live better. Quantum physics let us be creative, let us have choice. And nobody wants it. Why? It's no longer an issue of logic. It's an issue of power. Recognize it. And the tragedy is, Noam Chomsky identified, even the post-materialist thinkers, they have become completely sold on basic aspects of materialism. Many thinkers who call themselves that, yeah, we believe in values, we believe in spirituality, we believe in consciousness, but the consciousness they're looking for is merely an object. There are journals of consciousness, serious journals. Most of the articles tries to prove that consciousness is just an object. How do you experience consciousness? Do you see yourself experiencing something or just being experienced? Then who is experiencing you? Do you realize that without some body to experience, there is no experience? Experience has both an experiencer and an experienced object. Can you yourself be an object? Saint-Exupéry, long time ago, wrote a little book called The Little Prince. And the Little Prince, in that book, there is this line: what we are looking for is what is looking. Consciousness is that what is looking. Consciousness is that what is making everything happen, creating the entire world through us, through conscious observers who have an experiencer sitting in your brain. How does that experience identify with the brain? These are the questions that have to be answered, and I have, through my work over 30 years, answered most of them. Not by myself, taking the help of many people, including Valentina, who is also here. But the results that we are getting have the answers for all of the human questions: how love fits in, what are archetypes, how to be happy, how to heal, really heal, not cure. Now, do you get it? Why we want it and why it doesn't happen? It doesn't happen. It doesn't. It's not happening. It was predicted in 1980. Around that time, Marilyn Ferguson wrote a fantastic book called The Aquarian Age. She predicted that paradigm shift is here. No, 40 years have gone by, it's not here yet. Why? Power is one of the reasons, but how to combat the power? You have the power. You have to realize several things. First of all, rational thinking can be wrong because the basic assumptions are wrong. Yes, much of what the left, so-called left in the United States, or so-called left in many countries and cultures, say is correct on the face of it. They're rational. They're result of step-by-step thinking. But the basic assumptions that matter is everything. If that is wrong, then the conclusions often are also wrong. You have to recognize that. See, democracy, capitalism, these things don't work with materialism. Everything becomes machine-like. These systems don't fit with the machine picture of human beings. You vote. What does it mean if you are machine? You have to ask these questions. Otherwise, we'll never get out of the determined paradigm, deterministic paradigm. People just are stop asking these questions. Instead, they are saying, "How do I get a quick fix?" That's drugs, you know. Quick fix. Can one have a workshop and get a quick fix? Yeah, that's most of these people that are already referred to, which Noam Chomsky called intellectuals with values. They give workshops and you get a temporary high. Is that what you want? Why do you then go back home and become the same old, and then have to take another dosage of workshop to get the high once again? Same thing as drug. That's what happens with drugs. You temporarily cure yourself, symptoms come back, and you take another infusion of drug. Eventually, the drug doesn't do it for you anymore. That's what happens with workshops too. But why do you do that? Knowing that this doesn't work that way. There is no free lunch. However much we want it, there is no free lunch. Get it through your head. Spiritual traditions, spiritual people, wisdom teachers, beginning with Buddha, Jesus, and all these people throughout the ages. So many wonderful names that we revere. They have been telling us the same thing. Look, it is within your reach, within our reach, within everybody's reach to be happy, to be intelligent, not to destroy the world that we live. All these things are possible if we decide this one thing, that we can transform and we'll be happier for it. We'll be happier for it. There is a reward, except that it is not a free lunch. Yes, we do have to work. We have to be creative. We have to meditate. We have to meditate skillfully, alternating do and be. What's the problem? What's the problem? Valentina?
Yeah, it is a problem, right? Because everybody wants free lunch nowadays, right? And everybody wants quick fixes everywhere. I'm a medical doctor and I see this so much. And again, if we speak about this post-materialist agendas, there are some, and what I saw is that they begin with refuting the materialist paradigm or offering maybe an extension of it, but still they stay in the materialist assumption that matter is all. And I saw this also in Ayurveda, I have to say, So again, there were these ancient traditions, and now still it's going back to the matter is all. So but again, we of course we respect all the post-materialist teaching organizations a lot, and we endeavor to move towards this post-materialist worldview, and as Dalai Lama remind us, no model of reality can be achieved without quantum physics. So this meaningful post-materialist training ought to take quantum physics into account, but still more often than not, other post-materialist programs fail to do it. So what we do in our school, we offer teachings that include all the results of material science that refer to the machine aspects of human beings. We really have a lot of medical doctors, psychologists, business people. But again, when it comes to the human aspects of the human being, we adopt the quantum consciousness based worldview that quantum physics is leading us to. And in that way, the teaching here and what we do based on Amit's works and revelations, and not only, is serving to expand all this horizon of science itself and finding its basis in consciousness and non-material experiences such as feeling, thinking, intuition. And again, most institutions of a post-materialist bent, are based on someone's philosophy. It's often a systems approach, arbitrarily assembling teachings of many disciplines, but they don't give experiential or experimental foundation. And we are offering this education based upon the established theory of quantum physics, of course, and its generalization in various areas, and here quantum science, which is founded upon a solid scientific theory and experimental data. So if you think about the lineages, many of the post-materialist institutions that are offering nowadays these degrees, master PhDs, and so on, there's no unique lineage to speak of. So what we do here, we refer to, we bring education that goes back millennia, all the way to the ancient wisdom traditions, which is mainly developed some thousands of years ago in the Indian subcontinent. And but again, we refer to also to other traditions, the Christian tradition, esoteric teachings, and many others. And again, we speak about transformational education, which is again based on not only scientific theory and evidence, but also experience and embodiment. And mainly we refer to the 3 different professional areas. And that's why we refer, because that's what we want in the students, to have the results in a practical way. So and again, just to remind you, we refer mainly to health and integrative medicines. It's a teaching that supplements conventional degree programs of allopathic and alternative medicine. That's why we have the most of the students. And then we have we refer to mental health and happiness area, which is again supplementing the traditional degree programs in psychology, social work. And then the third area of interest, it's again on business, economics, social affairs, education, and politics as well. So obviously, our program is, again, implies also proximity, retreats, and personal work with the teachers that are here, especially Amit. And then there are a few others, including me, who are developing to take further all this harmonious presentation of science and spirituality and more. And the idea is that we really want to integrate this thinking, living, and livelihood, deriving maximum happiness from life, but not in this superficial and consumerist way. And that's interesting. Indeed, this paradigm, and so many wonderful people are on the planet even now, and still we are so stuck in this old paradigm. Um, what is missing then? And again, we have to think of ourselves, how to fuel the fire of our aspirations, how to keep up with all the changes that that have to manifest in our lives, but also as a whole humanity, in order to really manage to go beyond this cliche. If you want something badly enough, talk on manifestation, and to learn how to create your own reality with meaning and purpose. Yeah. And eventually to master, but first of all to discover which is your archetype, in this incarnation, and to also inspire, help others according to your area of work, to discover theirs and to live, to master this archetypal exploration for everyone, And then again, it offers this possibility to build an expertise in the quantum science of experience, in quantum neuroscience, quantum biology, and integrative medicine, quantum psychology, as I said, mental health, quantum psychology of happiness, quantum leadership, and so on, quantum spirituality also. And again, the thing is that it has immediate impact in not just the personal transformation, but immediate and in the professional expertise in the various areas. So it's giving a lot of practical possibilities after going through this kind of course. And of course, it's up to everybody. We many times we just pass over diamonds. We don't see them. So it's up to everybody's individual aspiration and inspiration, and how you continue to move on. We also want to create, and we have already created a beginning of such community where we really help each other, inspire each other, and grow together. Because it's not just a one-time event. It's not just one quantum leap. I also see it that being an Aquarius, speaking about this Aquarius era, that it's an ongoing process, which implies also the capacity to live in a community and to live in what is called the karma yoga practical way. In the same time, not forgetting about your own needs. So now again, we can go to all these areas and describe them a lot, but you can also find on the website. You can just check the catalog and the courses that we have there and see how it refers to all of these areas, all that we do. You can also check other recordings and see if what we do resonates with you. Amit?
See, today, both the talks that we heard from first Professor Goswami and then from Dr. Onisor, they centered around some of the very important themes. The first part consisted of some pointed questions. It is very important to ask the right question to get the direction. And this is where it is so important. And the message that there is no free lunch, this workshop highs and things like that are so common to most people who have experienced them, then it is time to go beyond. And then came in Dr. Ronisor, who described the courses that we have. And of course, as she mentioned, all of this is on the website, but it's not free lunch. Work has to be done. Even if you are talking about these sages, saints, just imagine the kind of effort they put in. No magic pill there. So thank you so much for this too. But before we end, uh, back to Professor Goswami for a wrap up.
Thank you, Krishanu. So, several years ago, There was a great movie made in Hollywood. It's called Matrix. It was a beautiful movie. It was very beautiful because, this idea that there is a world outside of space and time, that idea can give us another idea, which is that, all that we experience, love, etc., all that good stuff that we talk about, along with everything, is not really what we are experiencing. It's all manipulation because somebody outside of our reality has programmed us, put some programs in our head, and they are manipulating us. It could easily be that interpretation, and many scientists actually, believe it or not, follow it up and still are following it up. Today, actually, what is happening shows the same matrix scenario, except that it's not even people sitting outside of space and time, people sitting inside space and time. The vast academe, these vast workshop givers that I talked about, intellectuals with values. They don't really believe in the values, they believe in the values as necessary for pretension. Transformation is not needed. All we need to do is to recognize, just like all we need to do is to recognize that Plato wrote a book. Today in education, it's not important about reading Plato's work and understanding it. What is important is to get the gist of what Plato did so that you can carry on a conversation. Oh, Plato, yeah. Oh, Bach, yeah. That's all people today are expected to do. Same way. No, values are not like that. We can change because people who have followed the values, just look at a few of these people's lives. They're still available around you. And you'll find these people really are living happy and satisfactory life. It's not outside of your reach, but you have to change your worldview. You do have to change your worldview. Otherwise, people are just manipulating you. It's not like Matrix. There's nobody sitting outside of space and time and manipulating you. You don't have to go that far. But people inside the space and time, the academic, the workshop giver, the pseudoscientists, they are the ones who are manipulating it, saying that there is a free lunch, there is a free lunch. Look, there is a secret, and I know the secret. And this is the secret, and you don't have to do anything, just some simple recipes like I want a car, I want a Cadillac, I want a Lamborghini, I want whatever. No, it does not work. It does not work. You can convince yourself, you can affirm, and it may seem to work, creating an illusion that it's working. But it does not work where it counts the most. You will not be happy that way. You will not be intelligent that way. You will not be healed that way. You will always be divided. You will always be mechanical. You will always have conflicts. And you will always mess up the world, create global warming, terrorism everywhere, wars. But this is not our lot. This is not written like a mechanical stuff that is already written and it will happen. It's not like that. We can change. The world has changed. We can be civilized. The world has been civilized. We're not destroying it. But there's a long history of development of civilization that nobody can deny except materialists. They always try to impress that we are more intelligent than anyone before, etc., etc. Not true. The whole propaganda, marketing. Ask yourself, why do I believe in this marketing? Is there truth in love? Is there truth in spirituality? Is there truth in transformation? Is there truth in meditation and changing myself? Ask and you shall be given answer, like Jesus said many years ago, many eons ago. It's that simple. And that's it. That's what we need to change the paradigm. It does not happen without us asking these questions and doing something about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a really, really enlightening day. I'm sure our viewers will also appreciate it. See you next week. And if you have any questions, do not forget to email us at info@amitgoswami.org and we will get back to you. Thank you for being with us.